Commander Allison Pierce stood at the viewport of the shuttle as it approached the massive space station. The structure was beautiful, with gleaming metal spires that reached out like the petals of a flower. Floating in the darkness of space, Harmony Station served as the heart of the Galactic Assembly. Today would mark the first official human delegation to this gathering of alien species. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" said Colonel Eric Mills as he joined her at the window. "It's hard to believe we're really here," Allison replied. Her hand instinctively checked the positioning of her uniform. After 20 years in Earth's military forces, old habits died hard. 37 different alien species waiting to meet us. And not one of them from a world like ours, Eric added. He had studied the preliminary information sent by the Assembly. Most evolved on what they call Class 3 to 5 worlds. While Earth is a Class 12 death world, Allison said with a small smile, "I wonder if they know what that means yet." The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Ambassador John Murphy joined them, straightening his tie nervously. "Remember the diplomatic briefing, everyone. We need to make a good first impression." Allison nodded to her security team. 6 men and women, all veterans like herself, dressed in formal uniforms with minimal weapons out of respect for assembly protocols. Security Officer Sam Howard stood closest to her, his eyes constantly scanning. "Let's go meet the neighbors," Allison said. The airlock doors slid open to reveal a large reception area. The humans paused for a moment, taking in the sight of the assembled aliens. Some were tall and slender with multiple limbs. Others were short and stocky. Colors ranged from deep blues to pale yellows. What struck Allison most was how fragile many of them looked. A blue-skinned alien with 4 arms stepped forward. "Welcome to Harmony Station. I am High Coordinator Zilix of the Galactic Assembly. We are pleased to welcome the representatives of Earth." Ambassador Murphy stepped forward to handle the formal greetings. Allison observed the room, noting the positions of each alien delegation. Her attention was drawn to a group standing apart from the others. They were taller than humans, with gray skin and bony ridges along their faces. Their eyes tracked the humans with obvious disdain. "The Vraxians," Eric whispered beside her. "Military focus. Think themselves the supreme warriors of the galaxy." "They don't look impressed," Allison noted. "From what I've read, they rarely are." The initial greetings completed, the human delegation was invited to a formal reception. As they walked through the station, Allison noticed how many of the aliens moved with careful, measured steps. The station's gravity was set lower than Earth. Standard, yet many species still seemed to find it challenging. During the reception, Allison found herself approached by a small, elderly-looking alien with translucent skin that revealed multiple organs working beneath. "I am Elder Keth of the Zenth," the alien said through a translator device. "We are most curious about humans. Your biological readings are unusual." "In what way?" Allison asked politely. "Your bone density, muscle mass, cardiovascular system. They suggest evolution under extreme conditions. Our scientists were surprised a species could evolve intelligence while devoting so many resources to physical development." Before Allison could respond, a harsh voice interrupted. "Why does the Assembly waste time with primitives?" A Vraxian warrior had approached, towering over Keth. "These humans have barely left their planet." "Yet here we are," Allison replied calmly. The Vraxian looked down at her. "I am Supreme Commander Gorth of the Vraxian Defense Fleet. Our species has conquered stars while yours was discovering fire." "Different paths, same destination," Allison said with a diplomatic smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Your species seems remarkably physical," Gorth said, as if it were an insult. "Our intelligence reports suggest humans rely on brute force, rather than technology." Ambassador Murphy quickly joined the conversation, attempting to smooth things over. "We have much to learn from each other. Earth may be younger in space travel, but we bring unique perspectives." The tension was interrupted when a server carrying drinks stumbled nearby. The tray of glasses began to fall. Without thinking, Howard moved with remarkable speed, catching the tray before it hit the ground. The movement was so quick and fluid that a hush fell over the nearby aliens. "Good catch," Allison said casually, but she noticed the stunned looks from the alien delegates. "Such reflexes," Elder Keth whispered, "and in this gravity." Later, as the reception continued, a minor incident occurred near the entrance. 2 Vraxian guards blocked Sam Howard as he returned from a security sweep. "This area is restricted," one guard said, pushing against Sam's chest. Sam didn't budge. The Vraxian frowned and pushed harder. To his surprise, the human remained firmly planted, despite the Vraxian's greater height. "I'm part of the Earth security detail," Sam explained calmly. "Ambassador Murphy is expecting me." The second Vraxian grabbed Sam's arm, intending to remove him forcefully. What happened next caused murmurs throughout the reception hall. Sam simply twisted his arm free with such ease that the Vraxian lost balance. Sam caught the alien before he fell, steadying him with what appeared to be minimal effort. "No harm intended," Sam said, releasing the guard. The Vraxians backed away, confusion evident in their expressions. Allison approached quickly. "Is there a problem here?" she asked. "No problem, Commander," Sam replied. "Just a misunderstanding." As the reception wound down, Elder Keth sought out Allison again. "Commander Pierce, I feel I should warn you. What we witnessed today, it will cause talk." "The incident with my security officer?" He meant no disrespect. "It is not about respect," Keth said softly. "It is about fear. Most species here have evolved for millions of years in safe environments. Their bodies are adapted for thought, for technology. Yours—" Keth paused. "Yours are adapted for survival under constant threat. Earth has its challenges," Allison admitted. "What you call challenges would kill most species in the assembly. A Class 12 death world shapes its children harshly." Keth's voice grew even quieter. "Some will see you as diplomats. Others will see you as warriors unlike any they have encountered before." As the human delegation returned to their shuttle, Eric fell into step beside Allison. "Interesting first day," he said. "What do you think?" Allison looked back at the assembled aliens, watching them depart. "I think we have a lot to learn about each other, and I think some of them are already afraid of us." "Afraid we barely did anything." "Sometimes," Allison said, "you don't need to do much to frighten people. Sometimes just being what you are is enough." The shuttle detached from Harmony Station, carrying the humans back to their ship. Behind them, the representatives of 37 alien species began urgent discussions about the newcomers from a world they called a death world, and what their arrival might mean for the galaxy. 6 months had passed since humanity's first meeting with the Galactic Assembly. On the border planet Nex 7, Major Kate Phillips watched the twin suns set through the dusty air. This small, rocky world sat at the edge of assembly space, right next to Korthan Empire territory. Kate didn't like the setup. The diplomatic compound had too many entry points and not enough cover. "Perimeter check complete, Major," said Sergeant Daniel Wright as he approached. Dust covered his uniform and sweat ran down his face. The planet's higher-than-Earth gravity didn't bother the human security team, but the diplomats from various assembly species moved slowly and carefully here. "Anything unusual?" Kate asked, her eyes still scanning the horizon. "The usual. Local, wildlife setting off sensors. The Jexians are complaining about the heat again." Daniel shrugged. "No sign of Korthan activity." Kate nodded. Their mission was straightforward: protect the assembly diplomats during peace talks with the Korthan Empire. The Korthans were an aggressive species that had never encountered humans before. According to Assembly intelligence, they had been expanding their territory for decades. "The diplomats are starting another session," Kate said. "Double the guards at the main entrance." Inside the compound, representatives from 7 assembly species sat across from the Korthan delegation. Ambassador Lorax of the Pelian species was leading the assembly team. The humans stood quietly along the walls watching. Kate noticed how the Korthans kept looking at the human guards. The aliens had thick, armored skin that looked like rock, with small eyes and strong limbs. They appeared much stronger than the assembly representatives, and they knew it. but they seemed uncertain about the humans. One Korthan leaned toward another and spoke quietly. Kate's translator picked up the words. These new creatures, what are they? Assembly calls them humans. From a distant system. They look weak. Soft skin, thin limbs. Kate kept her face neutral, but she smiled inside. The Korthans had no idea what humans were capable of. She hoped they never had to find out. The peace talks ended for the day with little progress. Night fell on Next 7 and most of the compound went to sleep. Kate ordered her team to rotate shifts. She had just dozed off when the alarms blared. Major Phillips! Korthan forces breaching the north wall. Daniel's voice came. Through her communicator. Kate was on her feet instantly, grabbing her sidearm. How many? At least 20. They're after the diplomats. Kate raced through the corridors. All security teams protect the diplomatic quarters. Move all diplomats to the safe room. She rounded a corner and saw 3 Korthans breaking through. A door. Without hesitation, Kate fired warning shots over their heads. Assembly diplomatic compound, stand down immediately. The Korthans turned, surprised to see a single human confronting them. The largest one laughed, a harsh sound like rocks grinding together. One soft creature against 3 warriors? Step aside or die. Kate didn't waste time talking. When the first Korthan charged, she sidestepped with speed that seemed to shock the alien. Her combat training took over. Earth's higher gravity had given her muscles and reflexes the Korthan wasn't prepared for. She struck at vulnerable points. Joints, eyes, throat. The Korthan fell back, stunned both by the pain and by how quickly this small creature had moved. The other 2 attacked together. Kate ducked under a massive swing and used the Korthan's momentum to throw him into his companion. Both crashed into the wall. Kate didn't let up. She kept moving, striking, dodging. The Korthans couldn't land a solid hit on her. Down the hall, Daniel Wright faced his own battle. 4 Korthans had cornered a group of Jexian diplomats. The Jexians were shaking with fear, their thin bodies not built for combat. Behind me now, Daniel ordered the diplomats. He placed himself between them and the Korthans. One Korthan stepped forward. Move aside, we only want the diplomats. Daniel stood his ground. That's not happening. What followed amazed the watching Jexians. The human moved with incredible speed and precision. When hit, he seemed to absorb blows that would cripple most species. His return strikes found weak points in the Korthans' natural armor that they didn't even know they had. And most shocking of all, the human didn't stop. Cuts on his face, a possible broken rib. None of it slowed him down. Throughout the compound, similar scenes played out. The small human security team held off the Korthan raiders through superior tactics, speed, and a shocking ability to endure pain. The assembly diplomats watched in disbelief as beings they had considered physically unimpressive demonstrated combat abilities none of their species possessed. After 20 minutes of fighting, the compound's communication system came to life. Attention all personnel. Earth Alliance vessel approaching. Korthan forces are retreating. Maintain defensive positions. Kate regrouped with her team in the central chamber. Blood ran from a cut above her eye, but she ignored it. Status report. All diplomats accounted for, Daniel replied. His uniform was torn and his breathing heavy. 2 of our team injured, nothing serious. At least 6 Korthans down, the rest pulling back. Ambassador Lorax approached Kate, his large eyes wide with shock. Major Phillips, what we just witnessed, it was remarkable. Just doing our job, Ambassador. No, you don't understand. Most species would have fallen or fled. Your people, the way you fight, it's unlike anything in known space. Before Kate could respond, the building shook slightly as a ship landed outside. The doors opened to reveal Admiral Greg Foster of the Earth Alliance Navy, leading a team of Marines. Major Phillips, the Admiral greeted her. Looks like you had some excitement. Korthan raiding party, sir, we handled it. The Admiral nodded, noting the injured humans still standing at their posts, the downed Korthans being secured, and the amazed expressions of the assembly diplomats. The Earth Council sent us when we got word of increased Korthan activity in This sector, Admiral Foster explained to the diplomats, will provide additional security until the peace talks conclude. Ambassador Lorax stepped forward. Admiral, we are grateful. What your people did today, many of us wouldn't have survived without them. Later, as medical teams treated the injured, Kate overheard two Pelian diplomats talking. Did you see how they fought? How they kept going despite injuries? It's because of where they come from, their world. They call it Earth. The Assembly classifies it as a death world. A death world? No wonder they're so formidable. Kate smiled slightly as she let a medic clean the cut on her forehead. The Corthans had made a serious mistake today. They had assumed humans were like other species they had encountered. They hadn't realized they were facing Deathworlders, beings evolved on a planet that had tried to kill their ancestors every day for millions of years. As news of the incident spread across Assembly communication channels, the term Deathworlder began to appear alongside mentions of humans. The galaxy was beginning to understand exactly what it meant when humans stepped onto a battlefield. 1 year had passed since humans first met the Galactic Assembly. Lieutenant Paul Carter stood in the center of the Vraxian battle arena on Vrax Prime, the homeworld of the self-proclaimed greatest warriors in the galaxy. The arena was a massive bowl carved from black stone with high walls and seating for thousands. Today, every seat was filled with Vraxians and representatives from other Assembly species. Paul took slow, deep breaths. The gravity here was lighter than Earth's, which gave him an advantage, but he wasn't overconfident. The Vraxians had challenged humanity to prove their worth in ritual combat, and the Assembly was watching. From a viewing box high above the arena, Dr. Linda Martinez observed with Ambassador John Murphy and several alien dignitaries. Linda was a human xenobiologist, studying the biological differences between species. Your warrior looks small compared to Vraxian fighters, said Assembly Representative Zilix, the blue-skinned alien who had first welcomed humans to Harmony Station. Most Assembly members have placed bets against him. Size isn't everything, Linda replied with a small smile. Humans have some unique features. In the arena, a large door opened. A Vraxian fighter emerged, nearly 7 feet tall with gray skin and heavy muscles. The crowd roared. First challenger, Kraz, veteran of 50 arena victories, announced a bow. Voice over the speakers, Paul sized up his opponent. The Vraxian carried a staff weapon and wore minimal armor. Paul had only his training uniform and his bare hands, as the rules required. Begin, shouted the arena master. Kraz charged forward, swinging his staff at Paul's head. To the crowd's surprise, Paul didn't try to block or dodge backward. Instead, he moved toward the attack, inside the weapon's range. The staff passed over his ducking head, and Paul struck the Vraxian's midsection with a quick combination of punches. Kraz grunted in surprise, swinging his weapon down. Paul caught the staff, using the Vraxian's momentum to pull him off balance. Then he swept Kraz's legs out from under him. The Vraxian crashed to the ground with a thud that echoed through the arena. The crowd fell silent. Kraz was known for his strength and skill, yet this small human had put him down in seconds. Human fighting techniques focus on using an opponent's strength against them, Linda explained to the watching aliens. We evolved as persistence hunters, not just brute force fighters. Kraz rose to his feet, now wary. He circled Paul carefully. This time when he attacked, he was more controlled. The two fighters exchanged blows, testing each other. Despite the Vraxian's greater size and reach, Paul moved with a speed and precision that kept him in the fight. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The Vraxian began to breathe heavily, while Paul maintained a steady rhythm. Sweat covered his body, but his movements stayed sharp and controlled. Notice the difference in stamina, Linda pointed out. Human cardiovascular systems evolved for endurance. Our ancestors would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Finally, Paul saw his opening. As Kraz made a powerful but increasingly slow attack, Paul slipped past the staff and delivered a precise strike to a nerve cluster in the Vraxian's neck. Kraz froze for a split second and Paul swept his legs again. This time when the Vraxian fell, Paul followed him down and applied a hold that left Kraz unable to move. After struggling briefly, Kraz tapped the ground 3 times, signaling surrender. The arena was completely silent for several heartbeats. Then scattered applause broke out, growing louder as the aliens processed what they had seen. "Victory to the human," announced the arena master, surprise evident in his voice. Paul helped Kraz to his feet and bowed respectfully. The Vraxian looked confused but returned the gesture. "Most impressive," said Zilix, "but surely this was luck." "Watch and see," Linda replied. Over the next 3 hours, Paul faced 4 more opponents. Each was stronger, faster, or more skilled than the last. By the 4th match, Paul was sporting cuts on his face and arms. His movements were slower, but his eyes remained focused. When his opponent landed a heavy blow to Paul's ribs, a collective gasp went through the crowd. Many expected the human to yield. Instead, something remarkable happened. Paul's breathing changed. His posture straightened. His eyes became more alert. "What is happening?" asked one of the alien observers. He was clearly injured. "Adrenaline response," Linda explained. "When humans are injured or in danger, our bodies release chemicals that temporarily block pain, increase strength, and sharpen reflexes. It's a survival mechanism from our evolution on a dangerous world." Paul fought back with renewed energy, eventually securing another victory. As medical staff checked his injuries between matches, the arena buzzed with excited conversation. "Final challenger," the arena master announced. "Gorth, Supreme Commander of the Vraxian Defense Fleet, undefeated in 300 battles." The crowd roared as Gorth entered the arena. He was the same Vraxian who had insulted humans during their first meeting at Harmony Station. He looked down at Paul with disdain. "Time to show what a real warrior can do," Gorth said. Paul nodded respectfully but said nothing. He was tired. His ribs hurt with every breath, but he stood ready. The fight that followed would be talked about for years throughout the assembly. Gorth was truly skilled, combining strength with technique developed over centuries of Vraxian warrior tradition. He landed several powerful blows that would have incapacitated fighters from most species. But Paul stayed on his feet. When he was knocked down, he got back up. When Gorth drew blood, Paul wiped it away and continued. The human's endurance seemed impossible to the watching aliens. "How can he continue?" asked Zilix in amazement. "His body must be in extreme pain. Humans can push through pain in ways other species often can't," Linda said. "On Earth, we have athletes who run over 26 miles without stopping, climb mountains without oxygen, swim in nearly freezing water. Pain is information to us, not always a command to stop." As the fight passed 30 minutes, Gorth began to slow. His powerful blows became less frequent. Paul, despite his injuries, maintained his focus. He waited for his moment. When it came, he struck with everything he had left. A combination of blows, each precisely targeted at vulnerable points in Vraxian physiology that Linda had identified in her research. Gorth staggered, then fell to one knee. Paul moved behind him with surprising speed and applied pressure to key nerve points. The Supreme Commander of the Vraxian fleet tapped out. The arena erupted in chaos. Many aliens jumped to their feet, shouting in disbelief. The Vraxians themselves sat in stunned silence. As medical staff helped Paul from the arena, he passed veteran Vraxian warriors watching from the entrance tunnel. Their expressions had changed from disdain to something new, respect mixed with caution. "The Deathworlders survived," one Vraxian whispered to another. "All 5 challenges." "Not just survived," the other replied, watching Paul closely. "He never even used his full strength. I've studied their world. Earth's gravity is much stronger than ours." This human was holding back. In the medical bay afterward, Ambassador Murphy congratulated Paul as doctors treated his injuries. "You've done humanity proud today, Lieutenant." "Just doing my job, sir," Paul said through swollen lips. "Did it help our standing with the assembly?" Murphy glanced at the Vraxian officials conferring in the corner, looking at Paul with new eyes. "Oh yes," the ambassador said. I think they're beginning to understand what it means when Deathworlders step onto the battlefield. 2 years had passed since the first contact between humans and the Galactic Assembly. Now war raged across multiple star systems. The Corthan swarm had launched a massive attack against Assembly worlds. Their warships appeared without warning, overwhelming defenses and landing invasion forces on a dozen planets. On the Assembly flagship Unity, General Ryan Cooper stood before the Emergency Council. Maps and battle reports filled the large screens around them. Each showed the same thing: defeat after defeat for Assembly forces. The Corthans have pushed through our defensive lines in 3 sectors, said High Commander Zilix, his blue skin pale with worry. Our forces retreat everywhere they attack. They've studied our tactics for years, added a Vraxian military leader. They know our strengths and weaknesses. Ryan listened carefully. He had spent months trying to convince the Assembly to let humans join the fight. Today they finally seemed ready to listen. You've seen our reports on the Corthan forces, Ryan said. They've never faced humans in large-scale combat. They don't know what we can do. The alien leaders exchanged glances. Many still found humans unsettling. Their physical capabilities, their endurance, their approach to warfare, all seemed primitive yet frighteningly effective. What do you propose, General Cooper? Asked Zilix. Let us deploy the 1st Earth Expeditionary Force, Colonel. Olivia Bennett commands 10,000 troops ready to move immediately. A murmur ran through the council chamber. 10,000 soldiers seemed like a small force compared to the millions of troops the Assembly and Corthans each fielded. What difference would such a small force make? Asked a Pelian representative. Ryan smiled slightly. Quality over quantity. Our soldiers are all volunteers from Earth, all Deathworlders. The word hung in the air. Over the past 2 years, stories had spread throughout the Assembly about human physical abilities. The battle arena on Vrax Prime, the diplomatic compound on Nex 7. Small examples of what humans could do. Very well, Zilix said finally. We approve the deployment of human forces. 3 days later, Colonel Olivia Bennett stood on the bridge of the Earth transport ship Intrepid. Around her, 9 other transports carried the rest of the human expeditionary force. Their target, the jungle moon of Terrax, a key strategic position now under Corthan control. All units report ready, Colonel, said her executive officer, Major Alan Kelly. Olivia nodded. Begin landing operations. Unlike the Assembly's typical approach of establishing a defensive perimeter first, the human forces deployed in small teams across a wide area. Assembly commanders watching from orbit seemed confused by what they saw as an unnecessarily risky strategy. Colonel Bennett, came Zilix's voice over the communication system. Why spread your forces so thin? The Corthans outnumber you greatly. We're not here to fight fair, Olivia replied calmly. We're here to win. On the surface of Terrax, Sergeant Frank Morris led his squad through dense jungle. The heat and humidity were intense, but no worse than summers in Georgia back on Earth. His team moved quietly, using the thick vegetation for cover. Contact, 200 meters north, whispered Corporal Lisa Graham, the team's scout. Frank signaled for the squad to spread out. Through his binoculars, he saw a Corthan patrol, 6 heavily armed soldiers with their rock-like skin and powerful builds. Remember the briefing, Frank told his team. Their armor is strong, but they have weak points at the joints. They're not used to fighting in this terrain. We are. The squad moved into position. All across the moon, similar scenes played out, as human teams located and engaged Corthan forces. But instead of direct confrontation, the humans used guerrilla tactics. They struck quickly, then disappeared back into the jungle before the Corthans could bring their superior numbers to bear. In the Corthan command center, confusion spread as reports came in from all sectors. Another outpost has gone silent, reported a Corthan officer. That's the 5th one in 2 hours. The Corthan commander pounded his fist on the table. These new assembly troops move like ghosts. How are they navigating the jungle so easily? What the Corthans didn't understand was that humans had evolved as hunters long before they built civilization. The ability to move quietly through difficult terrain, to track prey for days, to endure harsh conditions. These were deep in human instincts. As night fell on Terrax, the difference became even more apparent. While Corthan and most assembly species had poor night vision, humans adapted quickly to the darkness. The Corthan forces used to fighting enemies who needed light found themselves under attack from shadows. On the second day, Frank's squad joined with 3 others to target a major Corthan base. The alien soldiers had set up powerful defensive positions, expecting a frontal assault. Instead, the humans climbed the massive jungle trees and attacked from above, a direction the Corthans never expected. When Corthan reinforcements arrived, they found only empty jungle and dead comrades. In orbit, the assembly commanders watched in amazement. "They're not fighting like any species we've encountered," one Vraxian officer commented. "Look at how they use the terrain, how they keep moving." "And their physical endurance," added another. "They've been fighting continuously for 30 hours with minimal rest." By the 3rd day, word had spread among Corthan forces. Beware the new enemy from Earth. Some Corthan units began to retreat when they received reports of humans in their area. On the 5th day, Colonel Bennett's forces struck the main Corthan headquarters. Instead of a massive assault, they infiltrated through underground water systems, moving through narrow tunnels that would have claustrophobic for most species. The Corthan commander was shocked when humans emerged inside his supposedly secure bunker. "What kind of creatures are you?" he demanded as he was taken prisoner. "Just humans," Olivia replied simply. "From Earth." Within 8 days, Terrax was secure. The assembly fleet moved in to find the moon largely cleared of Corthan forces. The aliens surveyed the battlefield with a mixture of awe and unease. 713 Corthan casualties, reported Major Kelly. "Our losses, 29. Olivia nodded solemnly. Each human life was precious, but the ratio was better than anyone had expected. When she returned to the Unity for debriefing, Olivia found the assembly leadership's attitude had changed. They looked at her with new respect, but also with something else, a wariness that hadn't been there before. "Your tactics were unconventional," Zillick said, "but effective." "Humans fight differently," Olivia explained. "We use the environment, we adapt, we persist. These are survival traits from our world." News of the victory spread quickly through assembly channels. So did stories of how the humans fought. Other assembly species began to request human forces for their defense. But among veteran Vraxian warriors, a new practice emerged. When they learned humans would be deployed to a battlefield, many requested reassignment. "I won't fight alongside Deathworlders again," one Vraxian captain told his commander. "It's not that I fear them as enemies. I fear what they consider normal warfare." As the war continued, the legend of human soldiers grew. Assembly troops called them the Jungle Ghosts after the Terrax campaign. Corthan forces began to include special warnings in their battle plans. If humans are detected, maintain distance and call for heavy support. On a dozen worlds, the pattern repeated. Where assembly forces had struggled, human expeditionary teams turned the tide. Not through superior technology or numbers, but through the unique combination of intelligence and physical capabilities that made humans natural warriors. The galaxy was learning a simple truth. When Deathworlders set foot on the battlefield, the rules of war changed forever. 5 years had passed since humans first met the Galactic Assembly. Much had changed in that time. The Corthan War ended with a peace treaty. Humans were now a common sight across assembly space. They served as soldiers, traders, diplomats, and teachers. Some alien species welcomed them eagerly, while others kept a respectful distance. Captain Nicole Rodriguez walked through the corridors of the peacekeeping vessel Horizon. Unlike most assembly ships, the Horizon had a mixed crew, humans working alongside aliens from 7 different species. Nicole commanded this special unit, tasked with responding to emergencies throughout assembly space. "Captain, message from Assembly Command," said Lieutenant Ben Parker, her communications officer. "Priority 1. Nicole hurried to the bridge. Her second-in-command, a Pelian named Thrix, looked up from the main console. "What's happening?" Nicole asked. Distress call from Outpost 47, Thrix replied. Colony is under attack by unknown forces. Show me. The screen displayed a small farming colony on the edge of explored space. Established 2 years ago, it had around 5,000 settlers from various assembly species. The attackers came, without warning, Thrix continued. They've never been seen before in assembly territory. Any other ships responding? Nicole asked. We're the closest. Nearest assembly battleship is 3 days away. Nicole studied the tactical display. How long until we reach the colony? 4 hours at maximum speed. Alert all crew, combat stations. I want everyone ready when we arrive. As the horizon raced toward the colony, Nicole briefed her team. Around the table sat her senior officers. 3 humans, 2 Pelians, a Vraxian named Krell, and a Zenth elder named Vix. Initial scans show 5 enemy ships, Nicole explained. Size and configuration unknown. They've landed ground forces at the colony. What do we know about these attackers? Asked Lieutenant Emma Hall, weapons officer. Nothing yet. This appears to be first contact with a new species. Krell, the Vraxian security chief, shifted uncomfortably. They attacked without provocation, without communication. Which means they're either desperate or aggressive, Nicole said. Either way, we need to be prepared. They spent the remaining hours planning. Nicole noticed how the alien crew members naturally deferred to the humans on combat tactics. 5 years of serving alongside Deathworlders had taught them to respect human expertise in warfare. When the horizon reached Outpost 47, they found 2 enemy ships in orbit. The sleek vessels fired immediately. Evasive maneuvers, Nicole ordered as the bridge rocked from impacts. Return fire. Target their weapons systems. Emma's hands flew over the weapons console. The Horizon's lasers struck one enemy ship precisely, where its gun ports were located. Their ships have strong frontal shields but weak rear protection, Emma reported, exploiting the weakness now. Nicole watched with pride as her mixed crew worked together. Ben coordinated communications. Thrix handled navigation with incredible precision. Krell monitored security feeds from the colony below. Captain, I have visual on the ground forces, Krell announced. Putting it on screen now. The main display showed alien soldiers moving through the colony streets. They were tall with 6 limbs and metallic-looking exoskeletons. They carried advanced weapons and moved with mechanical precision. They're targeting civilians, Krell growled. No mercy. Nicole made her decision. Prepare landing teams. We're going down there. 20 minutes later, Nicole led 30 crew members toward the surface in 3 shuttles. Among them were 12 humans, including Sergeant Gary Wilson and Corporal Maria Diaz from her security team. These aliens have technological advantages, Nicole told her team. But we don't know if they've ever encountered humans before. They're about to get an education, Gary said quietly. The shuttles landed on the outskirts of the colony. Nicole divided her forces into 3 teams, each with a mix of humans and aliens. Her strategy was simple: locate survivors, protect them, and push back the invaders. As they moved into the colony, they encountered the first group of enemy soldiers. The aliens fired immediately, their weapons sending out pulses of energy that melted through cover. Spread out, Nicole ordered. Use their formation against them. What followed demonstrated why veteran alien warriors had learned to respect humans in battle. Nicole's team moved with a speed and coordination that confused the invaders. While the aliens maintained tight, orderly formations, the humans flowed like water around obstacles, appearing where least expected. Maria Diaz showed particular skill, using the colony's architecture to move above and behind enemy positions. Where alien soldiers expected frontal assaults, she struck from angles they never anticipated. Gary Wilson demonstrated the raw physical power humans possessed. When an enemy soldier cornered 2 Pelian colonists, Gary charged directly at it. The alien fired, grazing Gary's shoulder. But to its apparent surprise, the human didn't fall. Instead, Gary crashed into the alien with his full weight, sending them both to the ground. The alien's technological advantages meant nothing in close combat against a human's natural strength. Nicole coordinated the overall response, using her understanding of both human and alien capabilities to maximum effect. When Krell's team became pinned down by enemy fire, she directed Vix, the Zenth Elder, to use his species' natural ability to project calming pheromones to help wounded colonists stay quiet and hidden. The invaders had clearly studied assembly species and their typical tactics, but they had no knowledge of humans, their formations and strategies, effective against most assembly forces, proved useless against Deathworlders who evolved to hunt, adapt, and survive. 3 hours into the battle, the tide turned. The enemy forces began to retreat toward their landing ships. Nicole's team pressed the advantage, forcing them to abandon equipment and wounded. "Captain, the enemy ships in orbit are powering engines," Ben reported through the comm. "They're preparing to leave." "Let them go," Nicole ordered. "Our priority is protecting the colonists." As the enemy ships disappeared into space, Nicole's team secured the colony. Medical personnel treated the wounded. Security teams established a defensive perimeter in case the invaders returned. In the colony's main hall, Nicole debriefed with local leaders and her team. A young Vraxian colonist approached Gary Wilson, staring at his bandaged shoulder. "You were shot, but you kept fighting," the young Vraxian said with wonder. Gary shrugged. "It's what we do." Later, as Nicole walked through the secured colony with Krell, the Vraxian security chief seemed thoughtful. "5 years ago, I would have considered your tactics reckless," Krell admitted. "Now I understand." "Understand what?" Nicole asked. "Why our veterans tell new recruits, if humans arrive on the battlefield, find another place to fight." Krell looked at her with respect. "It is not fear. It is wisdom." Nicole smiled slightly. "We don't seek war, Krell." "No. But you are shaped by it in ways the rest of us are not." Krell gestured to where human crew members were helping repair colony buildings, carrying loads that would strain most alien species. "Your people call Earth a death world, yet you speak of it with love. That is what makes humans dangerous and valuable. You turn survival into strength." As the Horizon prepared to depart the next day, with assembly reinforcements now arriving, Nicole received a message from Assembly Command. Reports of the unknown invaders attacking other outlying colonies were coming in. The Assembly was forming a special response force. "They are requesting the Horizon and its crew specifically," Thrix told her. "They want Deathworlders on the front line." Nicole looked at her mixed crew, aliens and humans working side by side. In 5 short years, humanity had gone from newcomers to essential defenders of the galaxy. Not because of advanced technology or overwhelming numbers, but because of what Earth had made them: adaptable, resilient, and unwilling to surrender. The legend would only grow stronger from here. Throughout assembly space, the warning spread among those who would threaten the peace: beware the humans, the Deathworlders. Because when they set foot on the battlefield, veteran warriors know to step aside.